Hi, it's DJ from Zyxel presenting today. So just wanted to check in, see everybody that's there, and just let them know we'll leave it a few minutes, let the late comers sign in, and then we will begin probably about 3-4 minutes past. Okay, so just hold tight. Okay, we are probably in a position to begin. Doesn't look like anybody else is going to be joining. So thanks for turning up today. This is basically effectively a hardware as a service for MSP and VARs webinar. So there are multiple models that you can choose when delivering the service of an MSP, and hardware as a service is one of the models that most complements the MSP offer. So it effectively starts to begin to transition your customers to pay for the value provided by the service instead of just owning the underlying hardware itself. So what we're going to explore throughout the presentation is why would they or you do it? So even with the pandemic and the upcoming chipset shortage, the market is expected to grow 26% by 2025. So almost half of European and American businesses are already leasing in one form or another, meaning that it's fairly popular business model, not foreign to end users, and we're already seeing multiple lease products and services in our home life. So we literally look at our phones, we look at our cars, we look at things like Spotify, Netflix. You're effectively we as people in the UK, for instance, we're already familiar with the idea of leasing and paying monthly for things, and not always just stumping up the money in the beginning. So this ultimately in the business world, it won't be too dissimilar. So subscription models have become part of our everyday life, and there's not really a reason that we can't introduce that into that kind of world, especially when people are already doing it. So networking is right behind servers for the most purchased hardware as a service model. Again, meaning it's not a new concept. You're not trying to introduce it to the market. Now, we're aware one of the hardest things to do is bring something brand new into the market and have to sow the seeds. So it's already a growing market. It's second in line between of the hardware as a service solutions, and half of Europe and America are already doing it. So let's talk about some of the benefits of hardware as a service. So first of all, you've got the easier upsell of a solution. So 65% of respondents to an equipment leasing association survey said the ability to have the latest equipment was leasing's #1 perceived benefit. There are no upfront hidden costs with Zyxel. So with hardware as a service, you have a predetermined monthly cost, which can help you budget more effectively, and it can also help your customer budget more effectively. Got no complex or annual licensing. So one of the biggest challenges that ourselves, our competitors face, one of the biggest feedbacks we all receive, is that licensing can be a bit of a complex procedure. No matter how simplified you get it, it can be a bit complex. And our competitors struggle with this exactly the same. So with Zyxel's hardware as a service plan, Nebula licenses are actually included in the purchase, meaning that you get all of the easier management and your customer never has to worry about licensing worries, and you, more importantly, don't have to worry about it. Quite literally, once you bought it in the upfront, everything comes with it, and as long as your customer's paying you monthlies and you're paying your monthlies, everything is taken care of. You can scale the whole solution with ease. So one of the benefits of utilizing Nebula on hardware as a service is the greater flexibility throughout the ownership period. It allows for customers to upscale or downgrade with ease. So sometimes you'll have customers who will go through moments of expansion or contraction due to, basically, let's look at the world as we see it today. So coronavirus, closed down quite a lot of doors. A lot of people were let go or at least furloughed. If you've paid a large sum of money for a load of networking kit, and then all of a sudden you don't get any use out of it for 12 months, it can become one of those things that you kind of wish, I wish I hadn't spent 20 grand on an upgrade when I need that money to pay staff or other bills that we've got. When you move it to a monthly, you're far more in control. It's not the upfront cost. You can also, you can turn around, especially when you're after the 12 months, you can start saying, well, actually, I'm going to move down, I'm going to move up, I'm going to cut things off. You can start negotiating exactly what you've got. So, we see the pandemic, right? The e-tailers had a field day, more sales than they had ever seen coming into them for laptops and all those kind of things. But it was the resellers that were the people that suffered the most. And having the choice between expansion or being able to decrease just gives you and that customer a little bit of freedom, continuing forward. So another set of benefits, you can become proactive. So effectively utilizing Nebula are already going to be offering that proactiveness, but that comes tandem in hand in hand in the hardware service model. So utilizing Nebula Pro, you take total control of the implemented network without having to be chained to your desk. Nebula will let you know if something needs action ahead of your customer discovering for themselves. Now, automation is key. So Nebula offers the ability to appear as though you're monitoring your customer's network, when in reality, you've got a system primed, ready to alert you when trouble happens. So taking you from speaking to your customers when something's wrong to alerting them that you're in the middle of fixing their issues. So you can gain customer loyalty. So this leads into the loyalty. One of the greatest things about selling a proactive service is the loyalty customers. So customers will spend and renew more often with people that they trust. Nebula's reporting allows complete transparency between you and your customers. So as sellers of security products and licenses, Zyxel has a long history with the recurring customers. We know that often when a customer does not renew a yearly security device, it will be because they've either had a bad experience or there's another reseller who's introduced something new to them that's caught their eye. So Nebula's always on networking will connect you with your customer more often via reporting tools, so they will never have to query what it is exactly that you do for them. This in turn will help them create that trust in you because they're hearing off of you more, which will mean that they've never got a reason to doubt what you're saying, because you'll be backing up with the reports that tell them exactly what's happening. Now, one of the main reasons we're in business is to make money. So the bottom line of hardware as a service is, you will make more margin than if you were to sell the traditional way. Now, I'll run through this in more detail in a moment, but the entire Zyxel hardware as a service offering allows you to not only make more margin across the period they lease, but also to add a service charge regarding the Nebula Pro features that come included in the price. And lastly, upselling additional services. So this business model allows for you to be able to introduce your true value. Now, that is the expertise, it's the updates that you can give, it's the assurances that their network becomes another OPEX finance that they needn't worry about. So similar to their gas or electric or their water bill. Effectively, you're utilizing a hardware as a service solution. You'd be moving their networking from a nice to have to an absolute must. Now, when we look at that, most businesses will pay their gas, their electricity on a monthly basis. They'll buy the stamps, the rubber bands, the office supplies that they need on a monthly basis. It's as and when, right? These are mission critical. They won't even think about it. But when it comes to an upgrade or it comes to products, their customers can often find themselves, oh, maybe we'll do it in a month, maybe we'll save up for it. And especially in uncertain times, you'll find far more people, far more businesses that are reluctant to part ways with a lot of money. So hardware as a service effectively just kind of mitigates that and moves it into, well, okay, instead of it being £20,000 to do an upgrade that you as the reseller know they absolutely need based on what they've been through the last 12 months, the attacks they may have faced and what you've protected them from, you move them into, well, this fee, similar to your gas, similar to electricity, you just pay this on a monthly basis and your networking is something you no longer have to worry about. We'll take care of everything from start to finish. And obviously Nebula on your side of it is what will help you do that. So mentioned a second ago that we'll go into exactly how you can make more margin. So in the example that we're going to show, we've effectively taken two 48-port PoE switches and 14 of our access points, and it runs at about £3,000. So under the current price, it would be about £3,000 excluding VAT. Now, working on a standard margin of 10%, you'd be making about £302 profit if you were to sell this solution just as it is to a customer, and we'll walk away and say, that's the kit that you needed to fix the solution, fix the issue that you were having. Thank you very much for the £302. I'll be on my way. Now, if you're adding a service level agreement on top, you'd obviously make a lot more money. You can make more money in a service level, but then obviously you've got to have some way of adding that value in. So in the model, you're eating into your profit every time you get a phone call, making you have to go and fix the products that you sent out, because that £302 pound is all your profit that you're making. So if you've not got a cloud technology looking in on that solution, or you have to go out and pay third-party fees for something else to be able to look in, each time that there's an issue, you are basically eating into that margin that you've already created. So when you move to a hardware as a service model, once the customer is tied into the one-year contract, the customer will be receiving a top-tier level of service from you alongside your ability to deliver the reports that identify exactly what it is that you're doing for them. Now, those proactive features in other products sold in the model mean that the average customer stays in a leasing contract for networking via the Gem portal for 28 months before changing or cancelling. So the majority of customers who buy into this model via servers, be it security products, they are in that contract for a minimum of 28 months before they leave. So with that knowledge, the £302 that you would have made, if you were to put 10% margin on top of your monthly rather than the yearly, you would be making that 10% fee for up to 28 months, meaning that you would double the amount of margin that you would have got from selling that solution. And all you've done is change it from selling it up front to moving it to a monthly. So as we've mentioned about service charges, lots of resellers will put on some form of value charge on their kit, and we highly recommend it with anything that we're selling Nebula wise. Given that with Zyxel hardware service, it includes the Nebula license, you're also able to offer that proactive service that we've been talking about. So it gives you total control and visibility of their network, and it's a service you can charge for, meaning that if you're putting them in a 28-month agreement, for instance, and then you also put a £2, £3 per product service charge on top to basically cover and say to your customer, this is me, the Nebula features, the reports that I'm going to be sending, the fact that you never have to worry, the fact that I can fix things before they actually become massive issues for you, you could make up to 420% margin compared to the standard CapEx model. Now, it's your use of Nebula that is actually what you're charging for, and as I mentioned, it comes free. So This means you can assure your customer that they never have to worry about their network. When they come into work, their network's up. If it breaks, you'll already be on the way to fixing it before they know there is an issue. You can move them away from having to worry about their networking to totally being secured. So security also is now on Nebula, and Secure Reporter, which is one of the reports that we've got in our security products, will be merging or has already been merged into Nebula. And this allows you to be able to deliver a complete report on attacks that Zyxel's boxes have protected them from. So this peace of mind is chargeable. So it is a chargeable service, and it will differentiate you from the competition. So when it comes to the security reporter, as I've said, the reports that you could send customers, they help build trust. I've mentioned that already. But if you can turn around to a customer and say, that device that you're paying monthly for, here is what it's doing for you. Here's how many times it protected you. Here's how many threats that it stopped and identified. Here's what it does. It sends it out to the rest of the market and lets them know to protect itself from that threat. I can tell you that your wireless devices, there are access points that are breaking over here. There are switches that have, a particular one is running out of bandwidth. I think you've got too many people running into that one. We might need to think about upgrading. All of this will be generated via a report, rather than you having to spend hours and hours and hours going through the switches, the access points, the data on itself. You can get this downloaded and sent to the customer with you, so you can go through it together. It's just another selling tool. And now, effectively, what we're getting you to do is work smarter, not harder. So with Zyxel's hardware as a service, we include the Pro Pack. I've said that multiple times. There are many different features that are there. Now, many of you have used Nebula, and you do understand already its ease of use. But when you're combining it in this model, you've got the solid backing of monthly revenues, reassuring you of continuous business no matter the climate. Now, with what's been happening recently, and we've got the coronavirus obviously still ongoing. We've got the chipset shortage now that many of you are aware of. That has literally just hampered many of our ability to get hold of the products that we usually sell. In a model where your customers are tied in for 12 months, you've got the confidence that you always know where you're getting money from. You don't have suddenly customers that you were banking on, you've worked on for a while. They were going to be placing a large PO, and all of a sudden the world goes a bit rubbish, and then they suddenly go, actually, we'll postpone it for a year. In this model, they are already in a contract with you. They're going to be giving you that money. They might be able to negotiate with you to drop a few APs off and drop them on, but you will still have revenue coming in, knowing full well that if times get lean for you, there is money coming in from somewhere. So your customer benefits as well, because they get a necessity in a similar manner in which they pay for other essentials such as bills and office supplies. So this is how we want our customers to view their networks. Most businesses will view their networks from a CapEx model, meaning that when times get tough, big expenditures on upgrades get delayed or cancelled, and that license renewal gets forgotten about. You who've looked after their networking for a long time, you know the importance of that upgrade. But to the customers, it's not that important. It never will be, because all they see is the money they're about to spend. Hardware as a service brings down those upfront costs. It moves their bills to a more manageable monthly payment, ensuring necessary upgrades are done when needed with no fuss. It is a change in how they'd usually operate. However, Zyxel's hardware as a service offering makes that transition more seamless by adding everything in one monthly bill with no hidden costs. So a few things that are in it for the customers. So your customer gets the benefit of saving initial investment, the freedom of easy upgrade, the bonus of scalability, combined with complete protection from your use of Nebula. Now, Nebula included in the sale, no additional investment, allows you to deliver a more robust real-time prevention rather than cure approach to your customers, leaving them to worry about what really matters, which is their core business. Too many customers are impacted by outside things, taking and dragging them away from the actual reasons that they are in business, the reason that you're providing networking to them in the first place. You're helping them move networking into the background, something that they just come to expect is there and work, just like we do in our home lives. If we all come home and our Wi-Fi is down, it's an issue, right? Surely we'd all rather live in a world where it's just there. Like our electricity, we take for granted that our water is going to come out of the taps, our electricity will be on. The same should be said of internet in the modern day, and that's what you're going to help give to your customer, that peace of mind. So one of the biggest things we hear about are that some of our competitors still charge for firmware upgrades on top of their monthly billing, and there can be hidden costs for warranty extensions. So some of our competitors who are offering monthly billing, this is exactly some of the things they don't include: firmware upgrades and warranty extensions. Like, if this doesn't happen with Zyxel, the price is the price. Every product that we have on hardware as a service in the Gem portal is covered by limited lifetime warranty. So it's part of Nebula. It can be automated. The firmware is part of Nebula. It can be automated to happen outside of hours with automatic rollback to the last working firmware if there is an error. Most products in the hardware as a service offering are covered by lifetime warranty, as I mentioned. So finally, to finish, it's not rocket science, right? It's not rocket science what we're talking about. You're transitioning the way you buy exactly what you were buying before to a model that makes you more money whilst achieving the same results. So effectively, you've got the same resource earning up to 4 times more profit. You've got recurring revenues, meaning no worry where finance is coming from in difficult times, proactive to customer, reactive for you. 24/7 monitoring does not mean that you are chained to your desk. Repeatable business that you can take to different customers and have them repeat this up to 100 times using Nebula before it gets a bit tricky and you might need to get more resource to help you out. Now, hardware as a service, it's a complementary model that helps enable you as the reseller gain more control of your revenues and the customers' network. It aids you in building trust with your customers, ensuring renewing of contracts and faith in your advice when it comes to upgrades or expansion. It gives you the freedom of worry from your customers about their networks, saving of upfront costs, meaning that they can use their money more wisely. So to finish, it is time to move networking from a nice to have to an essential part of their operating business. And we hope that Nebula and Gempor offering hardware as a service will help you achieve it. Literally is everything I wanted to discuss today on hardware as a service. If there are any questions, my friend Danny is also on the call with us, and he will be more than happy to answer. We've got a question box if there's anything you want to say. Again, is there anything anybody's a bit confused about? We've got this has been recorded, so we will more than happy to send this. We'll send the recording out on social media so you can watch it again if there's anything you missed.
Yeah, cheers for that, DJ. So far, no questions have come through, but we did have a sort of a late arrival. So as DJ said, obviously it is going to be sent out as a recording, so you can always catch up on it if you did miss the first part of it as well. If any questions do crop up after the webinar, then I'm sure you've got mine or David's information, in which case just reach out to us and we'll sort of answer them as and when we can, which is usually quite a quick turnaround.
Yeah, okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for coming today. I'll catch up with you guys later.
Thanks very much. Take care.